Yo,
What's
what's the
up, man?
what's the deal?
What's the deal? I'm trying to lace the people up with some frameworks and some game real quick, man.
Yeah, nah, I just wanted to jump in real quick.
Yeah.
I saw you made a post earlier earlier today. You asked people if they was planning on voting.
Hmm.
So I just felt like the sentiment was that the same thing as far as like we should be voting, or no, voting's a waste of time. But once again, this high level conversation, I just think that as a people we're missing the boat. We really are missing the boat, and it's extremely unfortunate. Like the only time that we think about politics is
Okay, listen, guys.
in terms of voting, but politics is much more than voting. We talk about this as far as lobbying, as far as
Yeah.
fund political campaigns, all that type of stuff. So I just think that, and not from your standpoint, but I think it's a misguided conversation to like argue with each other about should we should we not vote. Like we need to take place in a political process. That would be extremely unintelligent to live in a country and not take place in a political process. But the way that we have been taught to take place in the political process is the wrong way to go about it. So we need to. It's completely unproductive to argue about voting. We need to really understand how politics work and know that the majority of power is not through voting, even though voting is important. So yes, you should vote, but more importantly, we need to organize. We need to have super PACs. We need to fund political campaigns. This is something that is extremely important. And for me, spending more time with politicians, understanding politics even more and more. You got an organization like APAC who is funding $100 million to get rid of five people. So that's 20 million per. So just think about that. Like that's just five. What
You
about
said to get rid of what?
so there's like this liberal group of congressmen and women. I think I forget what they call them, but long story short, they're deemed as not friendly towards Israel. So they're like on like the top priority for APAC to get out. One of them is Congressman Jamal Bowman. He's actually our congressman where we live. Um,
Hmm.
so and even Hill Harper, right? Hill Harper was actually he said that he was offered $20 million. His campaign offered $20 million to run against Rashida Tlaib. Rashida Tlaib is the congresswoman in
Yeah,
Michigan.
they did that. Yeah, they
She,
said free Palestine, ain't it?
so Hill Harper is a senator. He's running for Senate in Michigan. So he was offered. He said he was offered $20 million to change from running from Senate to running from Congress. We don't even know. We don't even know the difference between Senate and Congress. That's what I'm saying. So it's like I think we're wasting a lot of time as we wasting time arguing with each other about Illuminati and all this. Like they putting together real plans, offering one person $20 million to run against another Democrat, right? So it's like that's think about how much money you would have to act. That's just one person. So it's like I just feel like at some point in time we just have to become a little bit more educated and a little bit more mature in the dialogue. And yeah, no party's gonna be for us. We black in America. That you can't take it personal. But like I said, I mean, I don't think that not participating in the political process is beneficial. And I just think that it's something that is a narrative that's just constantly being repeated by people that's not fully educated, and that's not gonna help either.
So it's like, and I agree with a lot of points. There hasn't been, most of the political education that I get when somebody actually breaks something down, right, is from these independent sources as black that break something down in a very just understandable way. Politicians don't do that, and they're much to blame for political ignorance, right? So even a lot of activists and people that push the political process and tell people to vote don't all the time have clarity for explaining these things because people don't speak to the crowd from a detailed or intellectual standpoint. They speak it from an emotional standpoint. They never give that breakdown. Now you got some people out there that literally will give you a breakdown of those things. But this is why the word go and vote is like this connotation of blind ignorance, of participate without knowledge. right? And this is why I don't like the monikers that we throw out there. You know what I mean? My ancestors died for my right to vote. It's like you're saying that, but it doesn't have true meaning whatsoever. There's no strategy behind that. There's when I talk to what's the sister that's on the Breakfast Club that do the political pundit? Um,
Fizeroa,
yeah, Tez Figueroa. So I was on her show for Revolt, and we was talking about this. Like, yeah, there has to be a strategy to where you got to strong arm your way in politics, and you hold that vote or use that vote if it's going to be in coalition with your strategy, right? But the idea of get to the polls, they trying to stop us from the polls. That's all an emotional strategy to get people, riled up and get people fear and get people in action. It's never from a standpoint of here's the strategy, let's educate, let's move on this. We all on this one thing. That's never the strategy. So this is why I've never felt a need to not be radical when it comes to speaking about politics because and here's the thing is I have a platform, right? And if people believe that my platform is not doing the right thing, well, come to me. You know what I'm saying? Talk to me. If you're like, they putting out all kind of, I ain't never got no political check. I ain't saying I want one, but shit, it's a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? So if my platform has the ability to sway people, then how come a politician don't sit down and have that conversation if it's that powerful?
well, they don't
Have
want.
have those conversations.
I think that a lot of people, like when you talk about the activist community, right? I think a lot of them are good intention, but they're not properly educated themselves. You got to, in order to be educated on this stuff, this is more high level finance when you got to start understanding money. So I think that a lot of times, I give our people the benefit of the doubt. I feel like we have a good fight, but our fight is just misguided sometimes. So I think that we should be in 2024. I think we should be more less critical of each other and more understanding and moving forward because we're very
That
critical.
I agree with. But
We're,
we gotta be we can still be overly critical of the system.
we're, we can, but we're more critical on ourselves than we are of the system. So we're very critical on ourselves as far as we quick to call somebody a sellout. We quick to call somebody an Uncle Tom. We quick to
But
call somebody Illuminati. We quick to call somebody, but it's like we're not the enemies. Like we're not each other's enemies because we don't have enough power to be each
but
other's.
that's why I say when I put up be pro Zionist, that was just to trigger people to think about what Zionist strategies are. You know what I'm saying? Like the way they go about fighting for their so-called right to exist and the power structures that they set up around the world to maintain right what they have. It's not their strategy is not a voting strategy. Like you said, their strategy is a lobby strategy. There's a power strategy. There's a structure and a system behind the scenes that's implemented in front of the people that has a very powerful institutional stronghold. So us being a more educated people, yeah, because I was looking up the spending power of like Asians and who spends the most on education, and it'd be the Asian people, and that's by almost double than what everybody else spends in any other category of race. And then I think second was like whites. So yes, there's a coalition between that, and then they always compare black and white, but there's no way black people go catch up to white net worth. We would have to more so take on strategies of not whites. We have to take on strategies of Asians. We have to take on the strategies of how Jewish people make sure that they have wealth. So the conversation was, yeah, to trigger people into, a more critical thinking process of if voting and not like to vote or vote for somebody else or not vote, all of it is a strategy to me. Voting on this is a strategy to say, okay, I will vote when, so saying that I can get in the game when my interests are met. And I believe in this strategy going forward and the ripple effects that my vote is going to have.
Are,
Right?
are,
And I believe that that's something that needs to be put in front of the people more versus let's go and blindly participate without actual strategy.
are you going to vote?
Who, me?
Yes.
In the what the the presidential campaign?
The presidential election next year. Are you going to vote?
I'm a vote if they get a good candidate, not a lesser evil.
So as it stands right now, would you vote?
as it stands right now, no, I haven't even checked out every nuance of the political candidates, bill and what they running on to
Nah,
even have a
I,
say so,
I,
to say whether I would.
I,
Now I've looked at JFK, I
that's
know
a
Biden, I
that's
know
a
Trump.
that's a political
Then you
answer.
got
You don't need to check out the nuances of this candidate. It's Donald Trump versus Joe Biden. You don't need
wait a
nuances.
minute, what my brother? What's the black brother that's in the race?
Cornel
You know,
West.
Cornel West and RFK, man. What you
Oh,
talking about?
you can vote for them too. But you spinning me right now with the I need to check out the political nuances.
Because I need to talk to Trump. I need to see how much he got, how much money he got for the gods. You know what I'm saying? Biden. I need to see how much money they got for the gods. Like, we need reparations. I don't know what they running on. Kanye said if he don't free Larry Hoover, he ain't getting the vote. I voted for Obama one time, and I ain't voted for a president since because I don't want to be responsible for the mayhem that they do once they in office.
So let me ask you this: you don't take part in presidential elections? I'm assuming. Do you vote at all? Do you take part in local elections?
Yeah, I vote for myself locally.
How do you vote for yourself? How do you do that?
So, voting for yourself, because voting means it's a vow and a wish, right? That's what voting comes from. It's a vow and a wish to a deity. So, I vote for myself. I cast a ballot every year to take care of my business, you know what I mean, and make sure that I'm solid, regardless of what the laws are in the world. I just learn the rules because every time there's a rule, there's a loophole, right? So, that's how I take care of myself and I vote for myself.
All right.
And then I like create alliances with people like EYL and other people to make
Let,
sure that I'm solid. It's a national global strategy, actually.
let me do this because we got to hold each other accountable. And you got a very big platform. You're very
Yeah.
influential. I would encourage you to take a more uh interest in at least your local, at least your local, at least your local elections, because that's something that's actually helpful. Even the school board, stuff like that, right? These are things that
Yeah,
most
yeah, yeah, 100%.
most
I
of
mean,
us.
I agree with you, but I'm one of those people that I literally gotta like talk to people. You know what I mean? Like if and I've been busy, so I ain't been in the political process whatsoever. I've been really like I've been on my own campaign, like you've been on your own campaign, right? So I really, I've been traveling around the world, so I feel like a global citizen. I might go vote in the Ghana election next year. You see what I'm saying? You never know. Like who do I what place do I even go vote for? What local municipality? I be moving so much, but you know, I was, in a room talking with a judge yesterday, and she was giving a breakdown of all the money that they got for particular programs. Like, I be having conversations with people that's in politics that move money, and for me, like, I literally had to sit down and be a part of your campaign if I believe in it. If I believe in something, I'm not just go vote. I'm a campaign for you.
So would you
You know
would
what I mean?
would you run for? I see Jason Lee.
No, sir. No, sir.
They, you know who Jason Lee is, right?
Yeah, yeah, unfortunately.
He's running for office. Local Stockton town council, something like that. Would you ever run for political office?
No, sir. No, sir.
Why not?
Because I don't want to take an oath to this government, you know what I mean, to carry out that position. That's not my thing. I already took an oath, you know what I mean, to Allah and the business. And I believe that I can have more. I believe I can have more power on the outside. The people who have power in this world is the managerial class, not the class that's voted in. So, on the outside, I've never, I don't, I think it was my brother in Louisiana. I forget his name at the moment because he commented. He asked me to help him with his campaign. I went live with him. Anytime a politician reach out, I've never shut down the doors and be like, I won't listen. But I'm always that type of person where it'd be like, y'all have so much opinion about what I say, but never talk to me. Right? So if you talk to me, it's very open door policy. Let's build. Let's see what's going on. That's easy if you believe I have such a strong platform that's influential. If you don't believe my platform is consequential, then let me say what I want to.
All
That's
right,
my strategy.
all right, all right.
You feel me? If you run for office, I will vote for you. You got my vote.
I appreciate
I'm
it.
just saying that now.
I
I will
appreciate.
move to New York just so I can vote for you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Because I think you are good at the politics anyway. You know what I mean? I think Troy will make a good candidate in office somewhere. We need strong black men like yourself with a solid mind, some integrity, some values, understand their system, understand where economic cooperation needs to be had. When I sit down with people that, you know, that be on the real streets, that be changing things in politics, you know, I respect the hell out of what they do. Like, I'm sure that if I get in the political process, I can help get bills passed. You know what I'm saying? It's just really, when I get into something, I want to be in it 100%. You know what I mean? I don't want to passively just vote. I want to be a part of getting a bill passed. You know, I want to be a part of like creating structural change. So I got an open door invite for any politician that want to reach out, right, and believe that they have something that is in alignment with my beliefs and that's good for the people. Come talk to me.
Would you talk to Donald Trump?
Yeah, why not?
I'm just asking.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, why not? If you could talk to Biden, you could talk to Donald Trump. What's the difference?
I agree with you. I'm just asking. I know a lot of people. If they saw 19 Keys with Donald Trump, they would they would break the internet. That would be a very interesting
Man,
dialogue.
I would talk to Donald because people talk to people love Michelle Obama.
What's the comparison?
Michelle Obama was taking candy out of Bush's hand and eating it and whispering sweet nothings, and nobody cared. And Bush was one of the biggest terrorists in the history of presidents. So I think that we got a selective outrage about things that don't really matter in the long term. Steve Harvey could have talked to Trump even though he didn't really do it. If he really did talk to Trump, or Ice Cube really did go talk to Trump, in the long term, you got to realize Americans are short-sighted. They forget about things in a few years. And so if you playing a long game with anything, do whatever you want to now, as long as the results in the future are good. That's the way I see America. What
Just,
Donald Trump said, he said Republicans are the dumbest group. And I was looking for this video today. They scrubbed the internet of that video. It don't even exist no more. You just got to tell the people what they want to hear. That's the political strategy.
yeah.
But you understand the game on an economic level. You understand the game on a local level. People like Tess Figueroa, she understand the game in an organizing level. You know what I mean? You looking at what some people understand the game on a lobbying level, right? Some people understand the game at the Board of Education and how much funds that they operate and how they control the city funds for the next 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. My uncle used to take me to Board of Education meetings in Oakland when I was younger. So I get the process, right? It's just always been, I don't fight against the system of voting. It's the rhetoric connected to voting that I believe is ignorance, because it can be swayed for anything. So it's like this propaganda slogan that doesn't have true meaning, and anybody can use it. And it doesn't make the voter accountable for what they're actually participating in. They just go say, well, my ancestor died for my right to vote. Which ancestor? You don't even know your ancestors. I'm just saying, bro. You know me, I don't like empty statements. That's the thing. I don't like propaganda statements. I just don't like things that just said without like logic behind it.
Well, I
Like, you
think
gotta
that
be able to explain
I
it.
think that everything happened, and at some point, I mean, there were people that did actually die for the right to vote. So I don't want to minimize that sacrifice, because that actually did happen. You got like Mega Evans and people like that who literally was killed, right? So it's like there are
Yeah, I
people that.
mean, we die for everything in this country, that's for sure. But
What I'm
they die for freedom more
but,
so.
but what I'm saying is that it's like walking up a staircase, right? So the first step was to actually even have the ability to vote, because we didn't always have the ability to vote. But we can't just stay at that level for 50 years. It's not to just vote. Vote is not like the ceiling. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, vote should be the floor, not the ceiling.
Right.
Vote is like you should just automatically do that just because. But now it's like this is why I'm keep saying, like, as far as the political lobbying, understanding how to put pressure, campaigns, marketing. Now you got to mature. You can't stay
Yeah.
on the level for 50 years and just say that, oh, well, we got to vote. We got to vote. Well, that's not any growth or progression in the political process.
That I agree. Those words that you just said, those are more key words we got to start having conversations around. You know what I'm saying? Organizing and getting bills passed, right? And the lobbying and, you know, really understanding where the power is so that you did have to rally around strategies, you know what I mean, based on the language you're using. But voting just means you got to go fill out a ballot box and say, well, I participated and I just chose what I was told to choose because this is the most comfortable for me to socialize in a group and say I participated in. That means you can be manipulated and you don't even know if you just participated in your own oppression or not. So it's like, participating with ignorance, that does not honor the sacrifice of somebody who died for you. So that you're supposed to have the right, but it's supposed to make sure that you have more rights. It's supposed to give you more freedom. It's supposed to bring you more wealth. You know what I'm saying? Not less. And in America, it seems like the more we vote, the less we have.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
So,
that I was just checking in. Like I said, man, we're gonna be talking a lot more about politics this year,
yeah,
because it's important, and it's always good to have these dialogues. It's important, very important, but it's
yes, sir.
important. It's important for the people to be fully educated because,
I agree. I
like I said,
think people should go look at the economics in America and the education. I think the most important thing in America for a group of people is to be highly educated. The number one thing for a group of people in America is to be highly, highly educated. Otherwise, you can talk to a mass group of people and their understanding levels go all be different. So, what is the understanding level, the comprehension level of Black America? What grade level is it at? Right? So you can talk to a masses of people and everybody is having a different level of understanding based on their background. Right? But when you get a baseline and a medium to understand, like, okay, when I speak to everybody, I know that they're literally going to understand it at this level. Now you don't have to go backpedal. You can say vote, and then they understand, well, that also means lobby. That also means organizing. That also means, local organization. That also means all these other things. But right now, I don't believe that that's the comprehension, right, across the board when we say that. Right now, I believe it's an emotional tagline, right, to get people to do what whoever has an agenda wants them to do.
well, it comes down to two things. This whole thing, everything in life comes down to two things: money and loyalty. That's it.
Mm.
So I'll give you an example. So it's like that money and loyalty equals power. Money without loyalty is not. It's going to be fractured power. Loyalty without money is going to be no power. So here's the thing. Um, they had a hearing at Congress a few weeks ago, like a week ago, with all of the presidents from Ivy League schools, Harvard, Penn, and I believe Yale, and they was asking about anti-Semitism on their campus. President of Penn said she kind of like danced around the answer. Long story
Yeah,
short, they wasn't happy. They wasn't A lot of people wasn't happy with her response. So Penn has a lot of wealthy donors, obviously, but they had one wealthy donor who he was in the process of giving the school $100 million. So he told the school that if she wasn't fired, um, he was going to withdraw his $100 million donation within 2 days. Now this is why this is important. This is why this is important. Obviously, he had enough money to do what he wanted to make happen, right? But he also had loyalty to understand his allegiance and his alliance to his religion and to Israel. It didn't matter he's a billionaire, but he understands that in order for the greater good of his people, sacrifices have to be made, right?
hmm
That's a loyalty and that's an alliance to something that is bigger than him. And this is when you become very dangerous as far as to actually persuade things, get things done. So that's what I'll end on: money and loyalty. That really makes the world go round. That's how you really, really treat dangerous. Like I said, you have money with no loyalty. You're not really you have loyalty with money. You're not going to be dangerous. But if you have money and loyalty, now make things. So we have to actually get more resources, get more money, but we also have to have some level of loyalty. We don't really have loyalty. So like we argue, we can't even we argue about everything. Like black people, they
Yeah.
come. Black people are already here. Black people white here. Black people shouldn't go to church. Everything is a scam. Da 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 da. Fraternities,
Yeah.
parties. It's like we can't even. We don't have any commonality that we can say, okay, despite disagreements, we don't gotta agree on everything, but this is something that's non-negotiable. We're gonna definitely protect this. We don't have one thing. We don't have one thing. We can't even agree upon reparations. I put a post on
We
reparations.
can't even agree that we God's. You know, the single greatest thing that unites Zionists or Jewish people is that they believe that they're God's chosen people. You know how powerful such a belief is? It's an amazing, powerful belief that can unite people. And it don't matter if you believe in God, they still believe it. They say, well, that's what we're running with. I am loyalty to that belief. So finding a common belief, which should be that, something like that, right? That we should all have a common belief that the diaspora, the melanated people, right, deserve human rights, right? Not just civil rights, but human rights. And those human rights equal out to equity, you know what I mean? Wealth, right? It equals out to us operating within power, freedom. And we got to detail that to something simpler and then kind of throw that into a constitution. But you're 100% correct, right? You have to find a common bridge that all people can say, no matter what we believe, whether you Israelite, Moorish, Democrat, Republican, whether you Christian, Buddhist, atheist, whatever the hell you believe you are, we all can say that this is something that must happen. And this is something that is to be.
When you run for office and y'all announce running for office, I tell you I'm there for the campaign. You know, people heard, y'all heard the stance. I told the brother I will vote for him. You know, and we rocking, and that is what it is. But let's stay educated. Let's stay intellectual. These conversations are literally for this point. It's to spark more conversation and make people critical, and to put more pressure on those who believe that all they have to say is just vote, without actually giving strategy and plans and actually having something tangible for that vote. Because the lesser evil, we used to dealing with evil. So at this point, it ain't enough to get people to rally. It ain't enough to get people to move. People want something good now.
That's a fact, man. All right, bro.
Salute.